Yo, what's happening, guys? First off, apologies, it's been weeks since I've done a video upload. Partly my fault, partly life getting in the way, but you know, it's life, these things happen. Now, first up, this colour change is now getting underway. I've got the fairings indoors, like everything's prepped and ready to go. I've got all the fairings laid out. The colour's sick. I've just taken the tank cover down to the guys in Milton Keynes to get the colour code checked, and then they're going to spray the fuel tank, which I'm going to take down to them on Monday. Now, 3 parts to this. We're doing a complete tear down today and a prep. The second part of the video is going to be an oil service, because it's well overdue, which is going to include clearing the codes and all that good stuff. So I'll show you how that works. And then the third and final video, which you're most looking forward to, is going to be the colour change. Now, I don't want to go into what colour I've done yet. I kind of want to just leave that until I do the reveal, which will probably be on Instagram in the next week or two. So yeah, I've got to run back upstairs and get the bracket for this camera because you're currently sat on the side, and then I guess we get started with it. One little tip as well, whilst I pull this bike forward, when it comes to stripping down a bike, whether it's a super bike, a naked, a tourer, it could be any bike, I always start from the top down. Now, I typically start with a fuel tank just because that's where a lot of things get bolted into, especially on sport bikes and super bikes, where you've got the side fairings, the panels, the seat sometimes clicks in underneath the tank. So I personally start with the fuel tank, then the front end, then the back end, and then the side fairings. So you kind of want to start on that center third of the bike, if you like, from the middle, working front and then back, and then down to the sides. Yes, then let's get it. I actually am really excited to get this project underway because this is going to bring back a bit of me, a bit of vibrancy, a bit of standout color. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is stick the bike up on a rear paddock stand just to keep it nice and stable and make sure that it doesn't wiggle around everywhere. The front fuel tank cover is quite straightforward to get off. It's a total of 5 bolts. You've got 2 at the back, 2 at the front, and a center bolt, which is just below the key. You have 2 side fairing bolts, and it's as simple as that to get that front cover off. Now, once you've done that, you want to be taking the main seat unit off. It then exposes 2 side bolts, which the side fillets go into. Now, those side fillets are quite straightforward to get out. They are really a simple case of 2 bolts, one either side of the frame, and it just holds it to stop the alignment from pushing forward or pushing back. Once you've undone them, put them back in the frame, keep them nice and tidy so you always know where they go back in, and then you can pop that side fillet, slide it forward, and then repeat the exact same process on the other side. It's a really straightforward thing to do with these bikes. Once that's done, we've just got to take the 2 bolts out, which slide into the side of the fuel tank just to keep the alignment there, pop the vapor overflow line and the fuel overflow line out, which were quite tight because they dried up, but they did pop out. Now, it's a 10mm retaining bolt for the hinge point of the fuel tank. We'll slide that out, lift up the tank and put that bolt back in so we don't lose that bolt. You'll pop the fuel line off, and then the other 2 clips underneath, which are the electrical connections, one for the pump and one for the pressure sensor. Pop those out, and then we can remove the fuel tank. Once the fuel tank's off, you've got 4 bolts to take off at the top of the fuel cap cover, as well as the internal plastic liner. It's then a simple case of making sure you don't drip fuel everywhere, turn the tank upside down, and hold it there until you drain as much of the fuel out as possible. You want as little in there as you can. So truthfully, I tried to be cute with the fuel tank. There's a little push button that goes on the inside of the fuel hose. So this hose that clicks into the bottom, that little plastic pin there, once this compresses in, the plastic pin pushes down.
Nice.
And then snaps up. When it snaps up, it holds it at the right amount to allow fuel to go out. So I was trying to hold a screwdriver in there to hold that cap open just enough to let the fuel go out, but not too much, because too much closes the gap, and then too little closes the gap as well. Couldn't quite do it. Usually what you can have on a lot of bikes is you have the click connector that goes into the tank, and then it has another connector which goes into the fuel rail, which obviously then goes into your injectors and all that good stuff. I don't have that on this bike, whereas it does on the Aprilia. So when we were doing the Aprilia and stripping that down, there was the opportunity there to leave the part that goes into the fuel rail into a tank and just keep turning the key over. That energizes the motor for the fuel tank and then just starts to pour all of the fuel into whatever canister you've got. So I just had to go old school, take the top off, flip it upside down and shake it till it had nothing left in it, basically. So that's that part done. I think what I'm gonna do now is tackle the easy section at the back. So we're gonna take all this rear cowling section off because there is a bit of damage to my carbon fiber rear. So I need to have a look to see if that's fixable. And if it's not, I need to order another one and then work our way to the front. So yeah, let's carry on with that. So getting to work on the rear side now, we'll take the rear cowl out of the key, pretty standard on most bikes to be perfectly honest, and then we can start removing the bolts which hold this rear cowl cover section in place. So there's only 6 or 7 bolts on that part there. Side bolts, rear bolts, and then the number plate itself. Now the plate has 3 bolts which hold it in, and that actually holds the under plastic in as well, so you need to remove that if you want to be taking all of this apart. Remove the front double R logo, pop the side fairing off, do the same with the other side, and then you can remove all the electrical connections. So that's the rear completely stripped down. It is quite involved trying to get all the bits and pieces out, purely because there's a lot of bolts on the internals that cross over each other that are really difficult to get into. I personally find it easier taking the whole rear section off. I tried doing it individually just so I could try and leave the under plastics in so I didn't have to reroute all of this after, but it's not the end of the world. It also gives me a chance to clean all of this up, which is quite nice. So rear end section is completely stripped. Now I'm looking at the bike from this side. I've got to get new swing arm covers at some point, but I just haven't got around to doing it. So I think the next thing we're going to do is start to tackle the front end and disconnect the headlights and front cowl section. Now, depending on how easy you want to do the front end, you can do it a few different ways, but I always start by taking any accessories off that you don't need. So the wing mirrors are coming off, and they're very simple. It's 2 bolts per wing mirror per side, and then we can start working on the front screen, which on this particular bike is 3 bolts to the side and 3 on the other side. It's only actually 4 of those bolts that hold the screen. The other 2 hold the front plastic air intake cowling to the front section itself. We can then start working on the bolts which are connected into the fairings. There's some pop clips underneath the front, and then we can get onto the headlight bolts which sit behind. That's 2 either side, and then you can remove the whole front section. So now that's the front end completely stripped off. All of the headlight cluster has stayed together as one. It just makes it a lot easier taking the whole unit off rather than trying to take the individual fairings off, because to do that, you've got to really get deep into the inside of the light cluster. There's 2 tiny little screws to get out, and it's near on impossible. You can do it, but it's just far too difficult. So your best bet is just to take the whole front end off if you can. It also makes it a lot easier to get all of the fixing brackets off to put onto the new fairings that you can then put back onto the headlight cluster and then bolt the 4 bolts back in as one. It just makes your life a lot easier. So all we've got to do now is get on with this side fairing, this bottom right hand fairing, and yeah, that is pretty much it in terms of the strip downs. Let's get on with that and then see where we're at. I suppose now is a good point to say that I actually really like working on this bike. Everything just makes sense in terms of the mounting points, the brackets, where the bolts are fitted to, and it's all done in such a way that not only does it make it easy, you actually don't really notice them either, which for exposed bolts on a bike is very good and very well designed by BMW. Now, once again, it's a simple case of removing the bolts that hold these panels in place. And on the side fairings, you have to undo the electrical connection for the indicators, and then we can remove that panel. And then the front fairing is held on by front air guard intake, as well as the side bolts that hold it in place. And then we can move on to the side and the underneath of the belly pan, which has got some pop clips, which you can see me removing here with my pop clip tool. And once they're out of the way, we can then remove the middle bolt that I like to leave till last, just to support the panel, and then I can take it out. And once more, with it being a completely symmetrical bike, you go straight back onto the other side and quite simply repeat the process. Remove the bolts, remove the pop clips, and then you can take the panel out of the way. So the next thing I've got to do is clean this down while it's nice and open, give it a service, get it prepped. I'm going to transfer all of the hardware and the brackets and bolts and all that good stuff onto the new fairing so it's ready to go, hopefully, fingers crossed, next week. And then, yeah, just sort of go from there, I guess. The only thing I'm waiting on really is the fuel tank. So as soon as that's done, I can collect it, I can get that prepped and fitted and all that good stuff. And yeah, off we go. We're running with a new color. So yeah, hopefully this has been a good one for you guys to watch. There really isn't that much to go through now. I wanted to try and get this done as quick as I could without sort of stopping too much and interjecting in between parts. Apart from that, I'm looking forward to this. So I'm going to sign off now, but thank you guys for watching. And if you're not subscribed, please do. If you don't follow us over on Instagram, head over to Instagram, because I'll probably end up revealing the bike color on there before it gets revealed on here. So yeah, there's your little spoiler alert. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.